Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about SEO. It's like massively complicated, and I've actually found this process of trying to make it simple really difficult. So I'm going to stress, by the way, anyone that wants to ask questions anywhere along, just unmute yourself and ask away. It's just a relaxed meeting. This isn't something that I'm going to go, all strict with. So yeah, just ask away anytime, or ask in the chat, or, unmute yourself and speak. So today I'm going to speak a little bit about SEO. It is really kind of difficult to make this really simple for you guys, because it's hard to try to find, that middle section. So I'm not going to overcomplicate you. I'm going to keep it really, really simple on just a few of my kind of tips that I do. So let me share your screen, my screen. I've just done some slides really quickly. It's not massively professional, so apologies. I want that one. Share. And open. Okay, can you see that? If you can, thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, so SEO is really complex. It's something that even I'm constantly learning. I don't even like to say, oh, obviously this is what I do for a living, but I'm always learning it, and I'm always having to kind of keep up to date with all the training that's out there. There's not, like, Google like to make things really complicated. They like to change their algorithms all the time, and they don't really like to tell you what they're doing. Let me just see, I think I've got something come up in the chat. I'll put these up in the group, so don't worry. You don't need to make notes. Well, if you want to make notes, that's fine, but I will put this up in the group. I've also got some of the little bits that I'll put up over the weeks to help you along the way. But I mean, touching on SEO, it is really, really kind of complex, and it changes a lot, and it can get quite confusing. So I don't want to overcomplicate it. This was the first kind of thing I put together, and it was about, website performance and checking your stats. It's really important to make sure you've not got broken links within your websites and things like that, because Google will penalise you for that. It's something that I can't just quickly show you how to do. It isn't that difficult, but I could do something further on in time to kind of check it over with you. Keywords are massive, so it's really, really important to know your keywords, and I've got a few little things that I'll go over with you, how that can help, or how you can help to find your keywords to match to what's your business is trending for. So analytics, again, it's important to check where your traffic is coming from. Google Analytics, you can do that. Does everybody have Google Analytics? Yeah. No, you need Google Analytics. It's quite important. It's free. It's a free tool for you to use, that Google's put together to just kind of help you. So I do recommend you do that, Vicky. I can help you set that up at some point. I just have to have a look at my calendar. It's not difficult, but I can help sort that out with you at some point, so don't stress too much. But yeah, really important to have Google Analytics, Google Search Console, all of those things. They're all free, and they're there for you as a tool to use. Let me close this, keeps popping up. Blog writing, content writing, these things are really important nowadays. Years ago, SEO was really simple, but now they've kind of made it a lot more difficult, and you need to make sure that your content is inviting. It's got to be, you can't just throw in all your keywords in the content. What I always say, and I work with some content writers. I do a bit of content writing, but it's not my main field. But it's really important to make sure that your content this is why we take you through this beginning process, because it all kind of flows in together. I have jumped ahead really by doing this SEO with you now, hence why I want to revisit it at the end, of what the process we're going to go through over the next 6 months. At the end of the next 6 months, you'll be a bit more clearer on this. So when I'm going through this now, you might be like, whoa, this is too much information, or I'm finding it a little bit confusing. Once we've gone through the first kind of flow of the program, you'll start to understand it a little bit better, because your blog writing and your content writing and stuff has to follow the needs of your client. You know, you have to have information there that they're going to want to need. They're going to, you know, come to your website for. It's basically a way of inviting people to come and look at your website. I've got a fly that keeps flying on my camera. And then you can start looking at influencers and who you want to connect with, press releases and things like that. That is way ahead, so don't stress too much. And then reporting on your websites. It's important to make sure that once a month you are going on your website, and it really don't need more than once a month. You're going on your website and checking your Google Analytics, checking your Google Search Console, and just reviewing things constantly. It, you know, can get quite tedious, and a lot of these things can take time as well. So if you're changing your keywords, or if you're just starting out in this, I'd say around 50 days really that you need to give it to really show some sort of results within your website. So I'm just going to go over some of my top tips with you. Like I said, I've just literally thrown this together, so apologies. I'll try and make it look a little bit less like confusing before I put it into the group for you. So like I've already mentioned, your content, it's really massively key to get your content right. I don't know, I've started coughing. Because this is where a lot of people go wrong. And really think about your niche market. Think about what your clients' needs are, what their I like to put a few surveys together for people and things like that, just to, so I really know my client, you know, and it's a good way to connect with previous clients as well. If you've already got your previous clients, ask them to fill out a survey, get to know what they're looking for, what their struggles are, what they need help with, how you can best serve them. And you can then put your content around that. I'm just going to open up a question. Sorry, point one, where you say articles, should the article be related to our service product? Yes, no, definitely, it has to be. You know, that's really important question there. It's, you know, it's important to be, because Google actually penalise you if you're not putting content out there that is relative, can't speak, to your website. You will actually get penalised for that. So, you know, it's really important to make sure that your content is all in sync with the rest of what you stand for and the way your business is going. So that's a really good question there. And in your articles, people, you can call them all different things, articles, blogs, you know, this is a way of you drawing traffic back to your page. So it's got to be, you only want the clients that you want to sell to, you know, so it's important to make sure that your content is relevant, and also because Google will recognize that if it sees that you're not making content that's relevant, it will penalize you for that. So yeah, really good point there. You want your articles to be, I keep calling them articles because that's just how I work within my head, but your blogs, your information to be completely flawless. Now I always like to really stress to people, make it so that people aren't looking to ask that many more questions. And you can adapt it and grow it as you go along, but you want to really be informative to people and give them as much information as possible so that they're more confident within you. I'm just opening another question. So how often would you do a blog post? I haven't got one yet, but keep thinking you need to start one. Once a month. Once a month is fine. I tend to, so with the clients that we do once a month blog posts, and then that's a newsletter as well. So we use it on the same system, so that's absolutely fine. Just open another question. Yeah, a blog's just another name for an article. It's just the way I think of it, because I work, my most client base are niche businesses in the US, in the health industry, so and they just call it articles. So for me, it's just another word. I put news section in my name for article. I'll put the news section on my website. I don't really understand what a blog is. A blog is basically, it's news as well. That's fine. News section is fine. You can put, you know, you can change that as well. So you can put, you can reword it to be blogs, or you can reword it to be, news is fine. Latest news is what a lot of my clients have actually on theirs. So that's absolutely fine. And that kind of moves us back on to actually to optimizing your title tags and your meta descriptions. So for those of you that know, I don't know how much you know, and again, you have to stop me if I go off on one. So every page has a like H1, H2, H3 goes on. But anyway, what you need to focus more on is your title tags. Now that's the H1 of your page. Here we go. I'm trying my hardest to keep it simple. If you change the blog instead of news, would that be more in trend buzzwords? Yeah, it's a difficult question, that one, because you want to make it appealable to your client base. Thinking about it with your client base, it's quite I have to have a think about that one. With news works with what some of the things I do, but with yours, I think either or would be fine, to be honest. Latest news, or yeah, it doesn't. That one's not so important. Do you mean H1 within the content? Yes, Nikki, I do. So that becomes your title tag. So how it works is when you search something in Google, so dog collars, that's just come into my head. Say your keyword is dog collars, or you know, you're searching into something. Where can I find dog collars? You want your title tag to have that your keyword in, which is dog collars. But then you don't just want to put dog collars, because that's just too. Again, Google will penalise you for that. That's too broad. You want it to be something appealing. You want it to be something that your customer is, you know, more appealed to. It's more of a friendly kind of invite to your page. So you want a title that's not too long. That's another one. Some people put in too much information within their title tags, which is the H1 tags. You want it to be, you know, simple, informative, but you know, make sure that your keywords are within your H1 tags. Then you want to have within your meta description, which is what you do in the back end. Let me just turn off my phone. You want to make sure that you've got a little bit of a description about it. So something that's inviting for your clients to be able to just quickly read. You know, people don't want too much information. It won't show up anyway. So you just want like 2 sentences really, if not more, less. Sorry, my phone is going off about the dog, so I'm just going to put that over there so I don't get distracted. So yeah, so you want to keep it kind of short, sweet, but really kind of informative. Try and put in again your H1 and then your H2. You could do with putting in your keywords as well, but don't just pack it full of keywords. So you're not just going to put dog tags, dog collars, dog collars, dog collars. You know, you really want to make sure it's got to be, it's got to flow. It's got to have a sentence. It's got to have something that is readable, because Google again will penalise you for just that. So yes, again, I touched on it briefly, but Google Search Console. Now, this is really important for your keywords, because when you start out, you know, you want to get as many keywords as possible for your business, so that you know what you're going to start ranking for. I use different tools. My favourite tool that I use is SEMrush for checking on my competitors. Because that's another really important thing to touch on, is making sure. SEMrush might be quite an expensive one for you guys, but I'll have a look around. I think there is a free version to SEMrush. I'll double check that for you. But that's my kind of favourite one, and the reason it's my favourite is because it's really good with keyword tool for. God, my brain's just switched off because I just suddenly saw it. Uber Suggest is free. Yeah, it's another good one. that's a really good one. And Neil Patel, who's an awesome guy. There's a guy to follow actually on YouTube. Take that note down. Neil Patel. He's like, you know, he does lots of really short, simple kind of videos for you to watch and kind of keep up to date with. So subscribe to him, because he will put stuff out there as well. So that's a good recommendation. Thank you for making me think of that, Nikki. And I went off on one there. Can't actually remember what I was talking about before. Anyway, I use SEMrush. It's good for competitors. That's what it was, for competitors research. So it's quite handy to go out and see what your competitors are ranking for, what keywords they're ranking for. And what you can do within SEMrush is just go to their website, take their URL, and see how you can compare with your keywords and their keywords and what they're ranking for. And then you can kind of have a nose around their websites too. So that's another kind of tip to make sure you do. But you can also go within Google Search Console, which is totally free. You know, Google have made it, you know, for you to help you in order to see the clicks and impressions that your website's getting. So in there you can track what keywords you're ranking for, what keywords people are using to get to your websites. So when you open it up, you'll see, I think you scroll down slightly further and you see a full list of keywords of how people have got to your websites, you know, what things they've been typing in. And from there, you can then work out what your keywords, oh dear, no, ignore that. What your keywords should be, you know, and follow the lines from that. And, you know, it gives you a better idea of what your clients are looking for. I did put some notes down because I really didn't want to forget to go over stuff with you. But has anybody got any questions at this point? No, we're good. What did I want to make sure I went over with you? Oh yes, good point. So it's important to check within your Google Analytics, it's important to check things like your bounce rate. So your bounce rate basically is, you want that to be as low as possible. You know, Google will see from your bounce rate what kind of things are relevant, whether it's relevant to your page. If you're not getting if you're getting a high bounce rate from Google, they're going to kind of think that it's not relevant and move it away. Silly messages on my phone. I think I should have shut down Facebook because I keep getting notifications. Also, tips to kind of improve on your bounce rate would be using larger fonts. Answer the question. Yes, at the moment I only have which is the same as everyone else's, so SEO individual pages within the site. So, sorry, you mean you've got, right, so you've got your website that was set up by your, because you're doing, I'm so terrible with the names of stuff. Oh, I know what it's called, Sarah. It's completely gone out of my head.
Yeah, utility warehouse.
That's the one, utility warehouse. I have notes of all you guys, but I don't have the notes right here in front of me. Yes, so have you not got the ability to access your Google Search Console and stuff from that then, I'm guessing?
I don't know. I've never looked.
Yeah. I think they own your website. Or maybe it's something worth speaking to them about. I mean, you can also do like some landing pages and stuff from that. Yeah. So that's obviously always an option for you. Just check my notes to make sure I've not missed anything. Yes, what was I saying? Using larger fonts is always good for people, you know, wanting people to draw you to your page. And again, everything on your website has to be based around your customer needs. You know, Google will penalize you if your website is too slow. They'll penalize you if your website is not set up for mobile devices. So these are all things that you need to constantly kind of really be looking at and adapting and checking. I mean, I make sure once a month I'm always going on there and running tests and stuff. Again, I've said SEMrush, there's loads of different tools out there, but SEMrush is one I use. So I run an audit on mine, and it's dead simple from there. I mean, a lot of these websites will give you tutorials of how to use them. And most of them have really good customer services and things. So there is always that option. I do it for other people who don't have the time, you know, but it can be done. You can do this yourself. It is something that you just need to constantly kind of keep up to date with. And you know, just set aside some time within your planning to keep an eye on. I can go into loads more, and it's a bit more in depth now, but these are the kind of 3 key things. I will post this up into the group so that you guys have got this to kind of look back on and think about. But has anybody got any questions or queries or anything? Oh, there's loads. Sarah, what's the best platform, sorry, to use a website, to create a website? There's loads. I use a lot of WordPress websites, but there's lots of different things out there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything right now, but I'll put a few of the ones that I've used before into the group. And again, I know Justina, we have got a man as well, Jagpreet, where WordPress is the most popular. You know, it's the most simple one that I find to use. Some of the other ones can be a little bit less. It's all down to personal preference. I just prefer WordPress. It's something I'm more familiar with. We have got Jagpreet as well within the other group, who that's what his job is. He's a website builder. So he's available if people want help doing that. I use questions coming through, sorry. Bounce rate basically is people, how, you know, coming to your website and people. So you also want to make sure that people, when they're coming to your website, are also spending a bit more time. Usually the best kind of time you want people to spend there is like 2 to 3 minutes. You know, you don't want to make articles that are hugely long, or, you know, you want to get people to your website and buying. So you want to make your articles not too long to read. So that's all linked to that. I'll go into a bit more training tomorrow on Google Analytics, Google Search Console and Google Analytics. But I don't want to overflow you with tons of information right now, because it's just going to get too confusing, and it's almost like you're just kind of swamped by it all. So I want to wait a little bit longer before I go into depth with you with the Google Search Console and Google Analytics. But for now, I think your main focus, guys, has to be within your keywords, making sure your first kind of things that you do is going in to check your H1 tags and your H2 tags. Make sure that they've got your keywords within it. So, you know, making sure that, I mean, that's something that you can do, and it's really simple, making sure that it's readable, that it's something that your client base, you know your client at this point, and it's something you know that they is going to draw them in. I also use BuzzSumo as well for articles and ideas. So buzzsumo.com, I think it is. I'll double check in a minute. But basically that shows you where, you know, it shows you articles, so you can put in your kind of keywords or a sentence of your keywords within BuzzSumo, and that will then show you articles that are already out there that are relevant, what sort of click rate they're getting, how many people are reading them, and then you can write sort of things around that and make it something similar, because then you've got an idea of what people are looking for. So yeah, make sure that your content holds your keywords within, you know, make sure that it's relevant, make sure it's something your client is looking for, and it's informative, and it's giving, you know, you don't want to make it so that people come away and feel even more confused. So you want to make sure they've got all that information that they're looking for. Set up your Google Search Console if you haven't. It's dead simple. I can help you with that if you're struggling. But yeah, that's really, really useful tool for keywords. And focus massively on your content. Those are the kind of 3 things that you need to be focusing on right now. And then once you've got those in place, we can then move further on to the next steps on there. I've got this stupid fly, one fly in the room that just won't leave me alone. chat. Okay, so I've been adding keywords for a week now, but not on console yet due to slow host guide. Will Google only trawl when it, no, that it will always trawl, but this tool is helping basically to help you know how to better your website. You know, this is something that they've put together for you, and I definitely recommend that you get Google Search Console set up to enable to do that. I know you've got a few different websites, Nikki, but again, I've said I will have a look at yours as well. I just need to add that to my list. August is such a crazy month for me, but I will get it all done and, you know, sort it all out. So yeah, my phone again. Any more questions? You can open up your mics now if you want, guys. Brilliant. Okay. So has everyone felt that they've got something out of this and I've not been too confusing?
I think that's been really useful, actually, because there's a lot of terminology there that you've clarified that I just had no comprehension of before. So thank you for that.
Right, you're welcome. It is really, they really try to confuse you with a lot of stuff, and even with the wording, some things that I'm like, because they change them all the time and things are always adapting, and it can get quite confusing. So it's really important to just keep it really simple, and just look at it in this format. I mean, like I said, I'm going to create over time steps that you can take, but this is the first steps that I think are most important. That's why I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Oh, oh bless. So is everyone happy with that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing. Okay, so I'm going to end the record.